Yes.
Are we? It's not just practice this week. We're not just like cosplaying podcasters at 6:30 Central Time in the morning this week, right?
I mean, I can't tell. I'm not good at this stuff. So
took us 7 minutes last time to figure that out.
How's things? Did you have a good week?
Yeah, this is I broke out an old classic here on my yeah, there it is, right there.
Here.
Yeah.
Is there wine in there?
No, I couldn't imagine wine right now.
I got this guy.
Oh, nice. Look at that. The big, shallow, wide one. That's like the soup bowl, huh? Wait for it. It is no soup for you. I nailed it. Look at that. I like
it. You're not all caught up on Curb Your Enthusiasm, huh? Series finale this past week.
Oh no, I'm only on like season 4 or something. I have a solid 7 months before I can talk even remotely educatedly about that.
I'm sure you're all caught up on WrestleMania though. Come on.
Oh, you're damn right. That was a big one, man. I look, guys, there might be some spoilers. Just heads up. I gotta tell you, man. Like,
you lit up when I went when I mentioned WrestleMania.
Well, here's the thing. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it's always a good show, but rarely are there things where like I feel like they actually like pulled out all the stops. They did it great. And there's a little more below the surface because, like, say, Vince is out of the picture. McMahon is gone. Yeah. And so there's a real question of like, can it deliver, but the storylines, the production, the performances, it was all very, very good. I don't know if they've announced it officially, but I think next year it's supposed to be in Minneapolis, and I am thoroughly excited, looking forward to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, lodging at you want to talk about fantasy camp? Lodging at Proper Royals right here. 3 days of WrestleMania next April, man. Do it. Plan it. Be here, man.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Now, is it still pay-per-view or what happens? Is it on demand? How do you watch it? I don't even know.
It's actually a neat business model that's evolved. So it's if you have Peacock, it streams on Peacock. It's just part of. It's actually more accessible than it's ever been. Yeah, you used to have to bump down, $40 to $80. So once a year, a couple buddies would get together and you plop down maybe even as much as $70 at one point to stream it. There was the WWE Network that was like $7 a month, so it made perfect sense just to get the network and you get all the pay-per-views. And then one of their licensing deals or whatever, everything's on Peacock now. So instead of taking all individual money from the viewers, they took the big check from NBC and they just distribute it now.
I didn't know that. Wow. I could have watched it because I have Peacock.
Right.
I haven't watched it at all.
You still can. I will say the first night was very good as far as just like a classic wrestling thing. The second night, the very first match, and then the big headlining match were really fantastic.
Really?
Oh yeah, it actually was a very, very good. Part of it was the conclusion of a 2-year story arc. So I mean that was kind of the payoff. So I mean it had to be. In one way, it's satisfying just because it's finally done, which is a horrible compliment. But on the other hand, it was pretty good. I'm not going to ruin it if you guys haven't. It's worth your 30 minutes just to watch the headline match if you have Peacock and you even remotely like wrestling.
And they're good wrestling matches. They're technically sound matches.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
they're good. Okay, all right, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So that was.
I was just talking about this. I don't know if I have room for another thing.
Trust me, I get it. Yeah, I know. I'm full up on them. I really do. That's why I haven't like people are like, oh, I don't know. Not now. It's not. I don't know what's relevant now. But like, 5 years ago, people were like, oh, did you see Game of Thrones last night? Like, no, I haven't seen not a single. I've never seen Game of Thrones. No idea what's going on in there.
Game of Thrones is fantastic.
Well, see,
Really
there you
fun.
go. One day in retirement, when the 401k and all that pays off, maybe I'll check. I haven't even gotten to the Sopranos yet. They're high on my list, but I haven't gotten there.
Yeah.
What can I do? Back to like industry related stuff. I also vended in Iowa this weekend
Are we slowly becoming a wrestling podcast as well?
No, we're not going to do that, man. Like sorry for the finger wave. That's a little patient. Oh no.
We don't want to dip our toes in that.
No, I think we've dipped our toes in it. I don't want to dip any more in it. Yeah.
Yes. There's overlap. I don't know. Okay, but go ahead. What you were saying?
Yeah.
You went to what?
Well, I was going to say, don't spill the beans of the upcoming Wrestling and Reptiles Expo I'm going to put on, but that's for a future show. I just made that up, but not bad. It's got a ring to it. Yeah, I learned in Iowa, one should not attempt to vend on the very same day at the very same time that the Lady Hawkeyes are playing for the national championship. You can't go head to head with Caitlin Clark in Iowa, in Des Moines. You're not going to go. Yeah. Shoot, foot, gun, whatever the thing would be. Yeah. Pull trigger. Anyway, I did okay. There was some pre-sales, thank God. And I did manage to sell 3 snakes while Caitlin Clark was battling the battle.
That doesn't sound that bad then.
No, it wasn't. It was a little bit harder work. It was a slower show. Wasn't the usual, like, that show's in a really small room, but it's in a really nice venue and they bring a lot of people. So that show is just like pedal down, 2-3 people deep at all times. And you just go, and it wasn't this time, but like to your point, I got by. I did okay. And this weekend is the Minneapolis show, which is home show.
That's right up your alley. Right?
Oh yeah, my favorite one on. It's you just take the alley out the back door and you're right there, man. It's. I'm on the alley.
And it's the right size pond, as we've talked about
before. All the boxes check, and I have an exciting little business experiment to do this weekend because it's also one of the big national shows down in Dallas this weekend.
Oh, okay.
So the biggest fish in my local pond not going to be there. They're going to Dallas. They're not staying in.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so your biggest. You want to say competitor? Is that how you describe yourself? Okay.
The giants whose shoulders I stand upon will not be present at this show. But I don't think the typical buyer and attendee at this show is going to Dallas. They're going to be at the show. Like, I don't think it's going to hurt attendance. I think it's only going to provide opportunity for me. So we'll see. Last Minneapolis show with the big dogs in the room was my best single day show ever.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So the bar, I'm like, I don't know, actually, hey, Jeremy, are you, it's Jeremy Budd. Is Jeremy, you going to Dallas? You can comment.
It's weird that they coincide. Do they coincide every year, or how does,
there's only 52 weeks in a year, and just in our region, like within a 3-hour car trip, I do 26 shows a year. So there's always. I remember. I think it was the Jacksonville Repticon is on the same weekend that Tinley is in Chicago. So stuff happens, But again, there's. What do we say?
Dallas is a big one. You got Tinley, you got Daytona.
That's right.
And you got Dallas.
Yeah, and on the West Coast, I would probably say Pomona, but I've never been to Pomona, so I don't know if that's in the same echelon or not. But I think so. Okay. Actually, there's a new national. There's not one of the big national shows in Denver and like the mountain region, and there's a new show, and I messed up the name on Tuesday night. It's the All American Reptile and Plant Expo, and that's at the end of this month in 2 weeks, 2 weekends from now. And I'm actually going to fly out and go hang out in Denver at that show. Yeah, I'm going to do some work with Redline Shipping. We're going to live stream from their booth from the show. And I think we got some surprises cooking. I'm not sure what I'm at liberty to share. So we'll just leave it there for right now. Faces you'll recognize, put it that way.
That's awesome.
That's
really great.
You wouldn't recognize them, Joe, but other people would recognize them.
I might. I'm learning.
Well, depending who shows up, but who I'm cooking up the surprises with, you probably wouldn't recognize. But yeah, actually, there would be people you would recognize that will come hang out, I think.
And Denver. I mean, come on, great town.
Denver in the springtime, yes,
Forget
please,
about it.
all day long, man. Right? I found, and I still have not searched. I can't believe I haven't done this. I realized I've discovered that Southwest doesn't advertise on like the Travelocities or whatever of the world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So just on a whim, I click on a Google ad for Southwest when I was looking for flights. Minneapolis to Denver, nonstop, round trip, 2 bags included, not Spirit Airline.
That's a big one.
176.
The baggage.
Yeah.
The baggage. Huge.
Punch you right in the goods, and the bread basket, as they used to say on the old wrestling shows. Yeah, right in the bread basket. Yeah, you get 2 bags, 176 out the door, all taxes, all everything.
Nice.
How can I not go, right?
But you got to do it. It'd be crazy not to go. That's nuts.
I would be. Now it makes me wonder, like, how quickly I could shoot down to Tampa or Jacksonville on these old Southwest flights.
Southwest. Yeah, there's a few. I mean, it's a Southwest, of course. What they had that problem there, last December or something. But I thought they've always been a solid. I thought
option. So. I mean, these days you could pick your poison on airplane problems. Yeah, so I mean,
right. And plus the baggage. That to me is like, and then it's great because I don't like carry-ons. I like to be completely unencumbered. I like to have a book, my phone, sit down. I don't like stowing away my own luggage.
And you got to stand there, and then if you go too far, you got to shimmy back forward, and they're all glaring at you.
Oh gosh, I'm already like too big for a plane too, and then
it's already a stressful time. Yeah,
and so I'm like this. It's terrible.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it actually, and I will say, on a total business standpoint, I am the guy that I just want to know what something costs. I'll pay more, just not to be surprised. Just be upfront. Tell me what something costs. I don't want to do like Airbnbs plus all the 9 fees. Just tell me what it costs.
Right. Yeah. And so, like, there's the cheapest flights that I've found into Pennsylvania are through Frontier. And Frontier is one of those ones that are like that if you go directly to the site, it's like pay for your seat choice, pay for your and it's like it asks you 12 to 15 questions before you actually get to the final price.
Yeah. Do you want socks that day?
Yeah, right.
Would you like your warm toes or save a nickel? No, just tell me the price and let me on,
I think you should come down to the next Tampa Repticon because that would get me to the next Tampa Repticon.
That would be actually really fun. It's in June, and I'll be honest, I'm not a Star Wars guy, so I don't fully understand the Jedi mind trick. But I think I've pulled off a few here on the home front. So I've convinced Kelly that I need to go to Denver. I've convinced Kelly that I need to go to Pennsylvania to play a gig at the Warples cookout. I'm not sure how many more of these airline trips that I have to go to where there's zero chance for revenue I'm going to pull off. Now, I would have put the over under well under 2. I would have put it at 1.5. So I'm already at the over. on this. So why stop? I will, I'll admit to that. But
give it a shot.
Hey, look, if the Minneapolis show comes through and I have another all-time best show, everything gets we always used to say in the restaurants, revenue cures everything, man. Revenue will cure all.
What's the date of the Tampa Repticon?
I want to say off the top of my head, June 10th. Jeremy will know.
Okay.
Somebody will know out there. I want to say June 10th, 11th, somewhere in there.
Okay. June, it looks like 9th would be a Saturday, 8th and 9th.
Yeah. Ironically, I do still own a table at that show, but I don't have a license. I can't vend in Florida anymore. I'm not even screwing with FWC anymore. I think I'm retired from Florida shows.
You're retired from Florida. Okay.
Well, it's truly I wouldn't say impossible, but it is a weeks to months long process to get a license in Florida. And then if you're coming from out of state, they don't like it. No, you technically have to import every animal, and you got to have your paperwork and it's like for what, Anyway, okay. So
I might be out of town.
Oh, always something, Joe. Last time your appendix, this time what? You got family or something? Come on, man.
I'm going to Europe with my family.
Okay, that's not bad. You're gonna go to the Tampa Fairgrounds or the Louvre. Okay, that's fine.
Bye, everybody. I got to fly home. I got to go to the Repticon. Right. I make fun of that, but I know that it's important, and it's one of my goals for this year, and I've already missed one, so I got to get to 2.
I don't even think there's 2 left after June. I think you get 1 more in November. So
I start to question like what qualifies as a show, because there are these little things that are around. I think
I'll tell you what qualifies. $176 to Minneapolis, and you jump into the Tacoma with Adam, and we go hit Tinley.
That sounds like fun. That's not until September, right?
October, yeah.
October. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do it.
Right. I'll check Southwest. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm high on them. Check when I get back at the end of. I'm bullish, as we would say in investing. Check with me when I get back after the 26th. So I'll give a full update on my Southwest travels.
Sounds good.
So what we talked about by the way, stuff we talked about last week. Crap, I was going to get into the real meat and potatoes here. But speaking of meat, what do you or don't you still have an appendix?
I don't know yet.
You can't float that out there like you're going to get answers last week, and no wonder you had enough of the doctor's care. You don't even know if you have an appendix.
I don't know. I have a CAT scan again in a few weeks. So
didn't you do one this week?
No, I just had an appointment yesterday with the infectious disease doctor, which was completely pointless.
Well, I was going to say, if the root cause let's just call the root cause a banana, and you go for a checkup, do they not check to see if there's even a banana anymore? That's the root. Like, if it's not there, you're good, right?
Well, the root cause is an infection. So this doctor yesterday I was hoping she was going to go, you don't have to do the antibiotics anymore. I've in your PICC line. Take the PICC line out.
Oh, you're still dealing with it.
She didn't say that. She just was like, you're going to do antibiotics until you have surgery. But before I have surgery, I have to get a CAT scan to see if I still need surgery, to see if I still have an appendix.
The saga continues. Audience, I'm sorry. I really thought we were gonna pay this thing off today. I thought we were done with it. All right.
This is the story. Yeah, this is the story of this sickness. It's so drawn out. It's so long. It's just no answers. And I feel like I have to babysit everybody too. I'm getting really annoyed. Like nobody is calling me. Like I have to make sure that everybody is on top of things.
Yeah.
All of the doctors. Like I was told that somebody was going to call me to schedule this and that. No, I have to call them. I've got to do this. It's like it's bad. It's bad. So, but the thing that I'm happy about is that I'm healthy. I feel good. I'm doing fine. I'm doing normal stuff. You know. So
Yeah.
it's good.
You're yeah, you're alive. So I mean, that's winning. Yeah, Charlie's like, well, that's it. Yeah, we should have held that till the end. That was damn it. Hey, one thing, and this is new. This is not part of the show prep. I do want to headline this. Jeremy Bod, for several years now, has taken amazing pride in raising massive amounts of money for US Arc. And he always donates amazing things to the auction. Jeremy, keep me honest, but several years back, he donated something called a money box. And Jeremy is a Finnish carpenter, fantastic, skilled tradesman on that. And it was a box that you could put money into, but you couldn't take it out. And you had to smash the box. You had to kill the thing to get the thing. So for many days at the auction or at Daytona, vendors would put money into the box. Anybody could put money into the box and then the box was then donated to US Arc. And instead of them smashing the box, they then auctioned the box to people that could do whatever they wanted with it, smash it, not smash it. And that was a lot of money was raised. I believe it was the auction was won and then redonated back, re-auctioned, redonated back, and then the third person that won it actually kept it. And I think money box. I was going to say $27,000, 28 grand. Jeremy Bod raises. Then,
holy smokes, that's awesome.
You'll see why I'm so passionate about this. First, it's amazing cause. Then, out of the blue, one day, Jeremy calls me and he goes, "Hey, you got any guitars for sale?" I was like, "Oh man, I didn't know that you played guitar. I didn't know this." And he goes, "I don't. I want to get a good guitar and I want to ship it to every famous breeder that anybody can think of." You got to run? What do you got? You got a thing?
Yeah, I guess so. Just hang on a second.
Yeah, I'm going to keep telling the story then, but you're not going to hear it. So it's up to the audience. So we, look at this. There's Chelsea herself. Like it's like a movie thing where like, just like you think it's like an Easter egg. You're like, wait a minute, what was that there? I need to, there she goes again. She loves the camera, right?
That was Chelsea, everybody.
Yeah. Hey, look, she has now appeared more on the show than Kelly has on any podcast in years. So like, there's at least proof of Chelsea existing in your world. People are wondering about Kelly. So then Jeremy calls me and he says, "You have a guitar?" And he says, "I want to ship it to all these famous breeders and get all these signatures, and that's gonna be the auction this year, and we should have a Proper Royals guitar." And I was flattered. I was dumbfounded. I said, "You know what? I got a perfect one." It was a very special guitar to me. I'd sort of retired it. I bought that guitar when my mother was in hospice care. It was kind of my like coping thing that I did, and it just didn't quite fit my sound anymore. And it's a really great guitar. I said, "You know what? Let's do that." And he paid me. He didn't pay me cash, but we worked out a deal. He compensated me for that guitar. And then he did all the work and he donated that guitar. And I think it went for like $5 or $6 grand that year. Then the person who bought that guitar redonated it last year at the auction. And the long story long, Freedom Breeder ended up buying that guitar well into the 5 figures. And yeah, Jeremy says, it looks like it's going to be one of the auction items that's going to start to get passed around again. And anyway, I'm really proud to be even associated with that by total luck of Jeremy just picking up the phone. But every year, Jeremy puts together something amazing for the auction. And now I'm really curious as to what he's got going on for it. Jeremy, you know that I will be proud to promo it any way you want, man, as I know August is a little ways off, But I think in just all the numbers that we've thrown around, somewhere from Jeremy's donations and work, I think we're now above 50 grand cumulative raised for US Arc. 50,000 effing dollars. Like, this is a lot of money. So, yeah, well, I can't wait to see the guitar come around again. I can't wait to see what, and for the record, Jeremy, I get a little annoyed at Tinley when those guitars they auction off at Tinley, they're cheap crap knockoff. Like, this is an American USA toured, played, built, not bought, all the hard work done. Those don't even have signatures on it. Screw those guitars, man. This is the real guitar, man. I love it. So,
and the Daytona auction, from experience, is a ton of fun.
From what I've been told, because I don't remember a bit of it, man. No,
it's a great night. It's fantastic. I had a blast. It was so fun.
It is worth it, even if you don't buy a thing at Daytona or at the auction, just to go to hang out, see people, see the mayhem, and to raise good money for US Arc. So, Joe, last week we talked about I had a crazy notion last week, and it's turned into one of these, like, do you ever get things that you just hold on to and then you think of like 9 different angles about, and like they just kind of cook and they kind of simmer and you kind of can't let go of it, but you get all these different ahas?
Sure. I've got like 25 of those ideas.
Okay, right. That's Joe's life, right? So I just facetiously and highly hypothetically, I threw out the idea of what a fun idea it would be to do like one of these like immersion fantasy camps for ball python life. And I don't think for a second I'm in most people's ball python fantasies, whatever that means. That's kind of weird to say, but in the way, like, you know, like you go to baseball fantasy camp and, you know, a pitch hit for Cal Ripken. Pretty cool. I don't think I'm Cal Ripken by any means. You could go to Vegas. There's a rock and roll fantasy camp, and, you know, Paul Stanley will show you some Kiss licks, and you get to jam with him for a couple hours and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you get all your producers and all that stuff. I don't think I'm at that echelon. I'm not saying that for one second. What I am saying, though, what I lack in the superstardom, I make up for in value because it's a lower price. You get me at I might not be Uber. Whatever. I screwed up the analogy. Well, anyway, so I was like, all right, what would that look like? So say this is all hypothetical. I'm not offering this, and we'll get to why I'm not offering this. But I'm not offering this. But hypothetically, you pay $1,000 and you come live at the house for a week, and you just live the schedule I live. You're right here. You're doing the show with me. Twice a week. We're flipping tubs twice a week. We got the schedule for the rodents. We'll do it on a week that we vend. So we get ready and we go vend Minneapolis. And while I might not be Justin or Bob, I probably am closer to the next step that most people would be interested in taking and experiencing. And for $1,000 to actually get in and learn something, you know, what's that? $130 a day. And I throw in the meals. Not bad, right? And like hotel, you're going to pay that much just to go stay somewhere for a week. So you could just stay in my guest room for that price, and you get to learn all this stuff. So, okay. And then I was like, actually, you kind of talked yourself into it, Adam. That's a cool thing. But then, so rationally on paper and on a spreadsheet, it's great. Everybody wins. The person gets experience. I get a little help around the shop. The content would run deep. They would be pitching content left and right. You know, getting my brand out there. I'd get all kinds of content because I would just film everything and then share it and talk about it and blah, blah, blah. If they're local, all their friends are going to come to the show that we vend at. They're going to come to the booth. That's a win. So why wouldn't I just blast this out and do this thing? Could you imagine? I mean, do 10 of these a year? That's an extra 10 grand in the pocket and probably pretty fun. Yeah. Perfect case in point. Let's use Jeremy. Why? Okay. So So now let's talk about all the reasons. And that's what got me thinking, like there's things that make sense on paper, and then there's the reality of life. And the simple way to put it is, you don't know who's a crazy psychopath out there. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
And what really got me thinking was,
like Jeremy. I mean,
Jeremy, in just him saying wash the sheets gives me a little bit of the creeps. It's a little bit weird. I mean, the guy farts like you wouldn't believe, and it's gonna be on my sheets after. Like, even if I wash
stories out of school here. Come on.
I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. A fart, like if a fart makes you awkward, man, let me tell you. So I started thinking about that, and of course, like, my wife and my son live here. All of my resources and things that are special to me, all my guitars are on the other side of that wall. So it's not really that feasible to just let people sign up. And but then I got thinking, like, in relationships in general, like, that's a really close proximity thing, yeah, do you get to So really fast, we do have bunk beds, and oddly enough, and no, that is the. You remember when we were talking about
the $2,000?
Yeah,
if you want spooning,
the Frontier questionnaire and the add-ons. That's a pretty high level add-on.
Premium rate.
That's a premium rate right there. Well, and you got to choose big spoon or little spoon. That comes with a certain. Each of those has its own price point as well.
It's a $25 difference.
Oh, more than that, my man. Way more. Maybe per minute. Let me tell you.
All right. Okay. So yes,
there's
you
the
have
stage, right?
All of the things that you care about. You're inviting somebody that you don't know,
right,
into your home, and that is deterring you from going ahead and doing this.
Yeah, and like, so I started to like tick through the boxes. Okay, what does a background check cost me? I think for $30 I can run a background check with somebody's permission. Okay. There's still a big swath of not psychopaths, still don't want to hang out with you for 7 days straight where you never leave.
Yeah, I mean, why does it have to be 7 days? I mean, like you could do 5 days. Like, I'm looking up fantasy camps and stuff. By the way, I don't think it's a fantasy camp. It's more like a learning experience.
It's a reality camp. That's all right. Now we just landed on something new right there.
Reality camp.
The reality camp. I like that, man. All right, wait. So okay, so you said I like the show prep. I actually did not look these up. What is a good? Like, give me what are you looking at there? Like,
it's like rock and roll fantasy camp.
Who's going to be there?
It's a 4-day music experience.
So the guy from Journey.
Nobody is going to be there.
Neil Sean. It's not the guy from Journey.
You get placed in a rock band, and there's a rock star counselor to mentor your band. That's like going to a baseball camp and going, Von Hayes is going to be there to help you out.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
They don't even say which rock star.
No. And I'm sure it's not. Let me check this out. Let's see what's going on here. And like those Cubs fantasy camps, they're not, or
for the record, I have no idea. It's probably
this is a comedy fantasy camp, and they're advertising Jay Leno, Adam Carolla, John Lovitz, Caroline Ray, Trevor Wallace.
Not bad.
Those are good.
That's pretty solid.
Good. Yeah, I wouldn't. They're not my cup of tea, but
so I think, I mean, I don't need late night stand up jokes, but to the person who does, that's a pretty high end.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. So I know for a fact there's a songwriter, Steve Earle, to the right people. He's a god to the right people. He does a songwriting camp where he actually, you go, it's called Camp Copperhead, and you actually go for like 7 days, and you actually write songs with him and the other attendees and all that stuff. So I would think it would be a little more practical than just, go to Vegas and party for 5 days and then rip a few chords with whoever.
The rock and roll fantasy camp. Let's see. You got pictures of Rudy Sarzo, Quiet Riot. Tommy Lee is there.
Okay.
We got Slash.
Slash is doing the camp.
It looks like, well, there's a picture of Slash. And
what is that level? Like, that's way more than $1,000 a week. I guarantee it. That dude gets like $1 million a show.
But this is the first time I'm doing show prep, so it's not that in depth. Okay.
Usually you do it ahead of time, right? So, all right. So the reality is, at those models, you have a scheduled kind of, I'm going to guess a 10 to 4 or a 9 to 5. Then you go to your hotel room. The people, whoever they are, show up for an hour or two, rip a few solos while you play 3 chords, and you get to say that you jammed with Slash, and it's this life-changing thing. Yeah. My pitch would be far more of a, hey, come do an internship for a week, learn as much as you can, and we're going to actually literally do the work. You're going to learn, hey, Adam, how do you post so much content all the time? Well, here's what we got to do, and this is actually how much time I spend on it and all of that. But I go back to here's the long arc. At the and I learned this from the private clubs that I worked at. There's a saying, and I hated it when I first learned it because it went against all hospitality mentality that I had been ingrained in me. But at these clubs, people live there. Like, they literally don't leave the property to go from hotel back to their home. You're giving them lifts. The guy that owned the club, he'd call me at 2 a.m. and tell me he needed a wine from the cellar. I got to get up, go to the, I'm like this dude's butler sometimes. Not in his house. I'm at my own house and I got to go do it. It would have been easier to be a butler in his house rather than, and the saying is, familiarity breeds contempt. And it's almost like the closer that you end up with somebody, the more you learn about them that you don't like. And there's very few people that end up passing that test. And so let's say I went through this amazing, I put all the legal declarations out there. It's Adam's total prerogative of who gets to do this. You can't sue me. I'm not discriminating against anybody, or I'm discriminating against everybody. It's my choice who gets in and who doesn't. And I find the perfect person and I take them. Then what happens? Maybe I hate them once I think they're perfect. If I landed in your home for 7 days and I was always there, Joe, even at the end of that, you'd be like, all right, just Adam, you got to go.
It's my space.
It's the space, right?
Yeah. And you want to do your own things, and you always seem like you're on in some way. Like you have to be, but that's the thing. At the end of the day, you get $1,000. Or
that's true.
I wouldn't do it for $1,000. I'd do 1,500 or something.
There you go. Okay.
Maybe even 2.
That's a good question of what is the price. Now, here's an angle on what is the price. Here's another aha moment. Let's say I find that perfect person, and let's say it's hypothetical 1,000, but we're going to go down the path of a little higher. Let's say it's 1,000. And that one person gives me 1,000. And then because we planted an amazing seed and they worked with this wonderful animal they fell in love with, maybe they buy an animal for another 1,000.
Yeah.
Great. Good model. Great model. What about the 5 people that thought they were on great terms with Adam, really liked Adam, really wanted to support Proper Royals, and were told, no thanks. Don't come to the camp. Don't want to have you here. There are 18,000 other ball python sellers on Morph Market. Have I, for the 1,000 perfect candidate at, Camp Reality Check, have I shunned the 5 other people that would have spent $600-800 with me over a lifetime relationship, that now, because we got too familiar with each other, that there's contempt and they won't buy from me anymore. That was
Because you got too familiar with each other?
well, yeah, I put him through the background check and we hung out and I
Oh,
interviewed him and I was like, oh, there's no
yeah,
way I
no.
can't spend
Yeah,
7 days with this guy.
yeah. Okay,
You,
I see. I see
you
what
see
you're
what I
saying. Yeah,
mean?
because you've said no to them
Right.
to the week-long learning
Right. What's the
experience.
parlance of our times? I think there's a word called butt hurt. They get this is a dumb word, right? It's a stupid expression, isn't it? But I think it
Yeah.
fits. So they get offended. What's the other way? They feel a certain way. I think the kids say now. And they get up in their feelings and they go buy snakes from other people because now they think Adam's a snob because he said, no, thank you, Jeremy, keep your money. Don't come to
Well,
the
the
house for
thing
7
is
days.
the thing is people do this all the time. I mean, people invite strangers into their home all the time, and they get money for it. It's
Airbnb.
Airbnb,
Yeah, but they
right?
don't
Like what?
interact with those. I've never once interacted with the person whose home I'm
No,
staying
and
in.
that's what you want. You don't
Right.
want to interact
No,
with
okay.
anybody, right?
Yeah, very
Yes,
good. At
yeah,
the root of it. Yeah.
but the fears are the same. The fears are the same. Especially if they're coming in to a shared room, you go or a house that doesn't have like its own entrance or something like that. Those rooms are you know are
There's
are
deadbolts.
rented all the time.
Yeah.
So like what what gets those folks who are renting out a room in their house over those fears?
Oh, they
Uh,
don't have to interact with the people. They put a deadbolt on it. You can rate uh stayers and renters, so it puts a little bit of a onus to be on good
mhm,
behavior. And I'm not
mhm,
even talking about bad behavior. I think people would be just wonderful people here.
yeah.
I I just have a limit of how much I could take from people, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I mean, maybe I'd do it for the right price, and if I had some kind of skill that I could impart to somebody else.
Yeah.
If I
What
had that, then maybe I would do it. But, I mean, maybe it's not something that you advertise. Maybe it's something
oh,
you just kinda put out there
little
and you go, what do you
speakeasy,
think? Yeah. Yeah, what do you
maybe
think of
that's
this?
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting,
Oh,
interesting. Very sneaky, very sneaky.
very sneaky, right? Um,
You're giving people the idea and then saying you're not going to do it just
right.
to see what the chatter is.
Do you know I can't wink? I can't just do one. Like I have to do both eyes.
I
It's
can't do that either, but
yeah.
my eyes are so small.
Okay, so I got to try a different angle on attracting people on that. Uh, all of that got me thinking. What is the sweet spot of building relationships yet keeping space?
Well, here's the deal. So I have done like farm stays. That's what I would think.
Okay,
That's what I would think this would be more like.
what is a
So
farm? All right, so talk to me. What is a farm stay?
so when my kids were young, we went to a farm, and there was a house on the grounds where we stayed, and that house could be rented out by multiple people, but we were the only ones in that house.
Hmm.
So it wasn't the living quarters of the family that owned the farm. That was number one. But
Right.
but there probably are like being like bed and breakfasts that have a farm. But we went and we stayed in this house, and then you ate with the folks, and they were like it was in Pennsylvania. They were like Mennonites, I think.
Oh
So
yeah.
you
Okay.
go and you eat with them, and that's kind of an experience. And then there's cows and chickens and all different kind of wildlife on the farm, and you milk a cow, and you know you learn how to get stuff from chickens and stuff like that.
You
And you
did you
can
do one of these?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, the kids were really young, so you do as much or as little as you want, though.
Oh, I see. You could get in,
So,
you could get in, get out when you wanted.
yeah, you could go, "All right, I'm done with the cow over here. Let's get out of here. Let's get the F out of here."
Yeah.
So, but if somebody's really engaged, then you set up see, the thing to me would be like, you'd have to build a house on your property
Mm,
for them to
yeah,
stay
right.
in,
Some
number 1,
separation, yeah.
and
But
then number
they
2
also weren't
is
you weren't looking to start, you weren't going there to learn how to
yeah,
farm. You were just wanted to dip your toe in it a little bit.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted an experience for the kids.
Yeah.
So, it's not quite I know it's not quite that,
No, no, right. Yeah.
but what
Sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
saying is a certain separation, like, not
Hmm.
just a room in your house. Your house is kinda sacred.
Right.
And there are certain like, I couldn't go into the family's house and walk around and say, "Hey, how are you living in here?"
Yeah. In
No,
your
I wouldn't
robe.
do
Yeah.
yeah, right, yeah. But there were certain places that I had access to at certain times as
I
well.
see. Yeah.
So and supervised, so, there was, like, a schedule that was set. So and there was, like, free time that was built in. So
Right.
it'd be a
Yeah.
schedule, free time. So first thing, if this was going to work, would be a separation of, a part of the house that is completely separate that they only have access to, and the rest of the access to the house is not no, no.
Yeah.
And then second thing would be a a schedule of things.
Hmm.
Because I think probably people want their own free time as well too. I don't know if
That's the
they can
flip side.
handle
Yeah. Maybe
then
they want a break from me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
what am I? That
I mean
exciting that they had there? I'm so worried they want to be around me all the time. Yeah, maybe
I
that's
mean,
not the
I'm
case.
looking at the clock right now. I'm done with
You're
you.
like, give me
I
get how
mean,
do we get through this 12 more minutes,
this
right?
is 12 minutes. I can't do this. I need a break.
All right, throw that out the window. What about um let's say there was a company called Blue Square Shipping, and they were an advertiser for me. So they give me something of value. This is all hypothetical with Blue Square Shipping, and Blue Square Shipping says, "Hey, we're going to, at your next Minneapolis show, we want you to showcase some of our goods because that's a generous thing. We've been generous to you. Great." And then I send them pictures. This is all hypothetical. This has never happened, for the record. Redline is fantastic. We're talking about Blue Square Shipping. That'd be a different company, different culture. And I send them, here's some videos. I've tagged you in it. I've really gotten the brand out there. And they go, we really think you owe us a little more space, Adam, on your table there. We think we've done nice stuff for you, and you're part of our gang now, and you need to do a little more. And if I don't do it, now my shipping expenses are going to go up, and I'm not going to get the benefit because I've signed on with them. And you don't
Mhm.
want to feel owned. And this is a bad analogy because everybody's going to think I'm talking about Redline. I'm absolutely not. Redline is fantastic to me, but in that way. Or say there was a,
Yeah.
fantastic glass display company, and they,
Gotcha.
my point being, how in life the boundaries and the conversations of being upfront with expectations and who's willing to commit to what are really, really important, I think. And that's really where I landed in all of this. And I don't know that boundaries, expectations can be set in a super private, physically close encounter situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And
you're
that's
right.
what I'm missing. And to the credit of my advertisers, Redline has never said that stuff to me. Cold Blooded Cafe says, hey, get our name out there. And we talk about the results of people using the promo code proper11 if you want 11% off from Cold Blooded Cafe. And they give me, basically, I always make sure that I keep creative freedom of how and where I want to advertise for people. At the end of the day, if they're not happy with the results, then that's a conversation that they are not only entitled to have, that I want them to have. I ask for feedback very regularly from the advertisers. They do a lot for me. And every agreement is different. Creative Genetics at the top, we have a different agreement. Keith is great. Check out what he does. Stranger Gene in recessive combos, double, triple hets. You could find Keith out in Fresno, California. And part of our deal is that I work with one of his males, and we do breeding projects together. So was going to say, Joe, you could get him to change the subject. What's this, Brandon? You're throwing me off here. So I think the freedom and the communication of upfront expectations is really valuable, but the space between people, because at the end of the day, I have decided that with very few exceptions, familiarity often does breed contempt. Like, you got to give people space. You can't just what do I do? Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about here. Yeah. There's my aha stuff that I tried to keep there.
12 minutes. How are we going to get through the 12 minutes? Gotcha.
Brandon, we could go on this. Yeah, way back. I got you. There was a little lag on the commentary. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm listening to you. I think it goes back to our conversation last week as well. Like, defining the value and making sure that you have a specific value for certain things that you're bartering, giving away. I mean, and trading back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. How much is it? How much is the space on your table? Does that equate to the discount that you're getting from the company or whatever? I mean, are you going to lose, valuable space in order to, but putting a dollar amount to it, quantifying it and going,
and
then saying, is it equal?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I amazingly value our sponsors. However, the primary gig is to sell snakes, not to be an advertising media company. That's not my goal in life. This is fuel in the tank to help me sell the snakes, but not to be an advertising media company. So you deal in like really learning like a lot about people. Like, you must learn a ton about people. Talk about getting familiar with your clients. And I know I would never ask you to share specifics, but if you ever run across a thing where you're like, holy smokes, this is a terrible person, and they, like, I imagine I couldn't be a lawyer, or I guess I could, but I don't want to be a lawyer, because while I believe everybody deserves a fair shake and a fair defense, there are times where I would want to be like, screw you, you're on, I'm not touching this. Are there times that you've run across that? Because like, learning people's finances is really, I mean, that's how you get to know somebody.
Yeah,
right?
you see a side that most people don't see, and you go, yeah. To answer your question, every day.
Oh yeah,
every day I think about it, but not like in a moral sense, like, oh, these people are really terrible, or but more like, what is their value? What is their value, or what is the value of their work, and how is it so vastly different from, how is somebody who's in tech, their value of work and their time so vastly different from, say, like a home health aide?
I see. So why is one person wildly financially wealthy where somebody else who probably is physically doing more work is
right.
or better? Yeah. Like, yeah, okay, a nurse is, washing somebody for pennies on the dollar compared to what some other person is doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes you go, okay, well, and you kind of get their history and you kind of chalk it up to like, well, there's variables that I don't see. And,
Uh-huh.
you go, but then you come across like, and it's still the case, variables you don't see. You come across two people who are doing the same type of thing and they're getting vastly different amounts.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And then you
Right.
go, okay, so what is maybe again variables you don't see, but I question it all the time, and I question myself too. It's like I look at this and I go, oh, I look at somebody who is making so much more than I am, and I
Right.
go, okay, I did something wrong. I did something wrong,
I missed the
and
boat somewhere, right?
yeah, I missed the boat. I did something wrong, but uh, even that even that way of thinking or that use of the word wrong makes me wonder about how we value ourselves compared to the money that we bring in or the income that we have,
Right. Do
like
you
right
do you
or
like
wrong. Like,
do you
no,
like
that's
paint
not really.
do you like paint pictures in your mind of like, well, they're probably rich, but they're awful unhappy people, and you're like, I'm still better. Like that's what I would do. I would be like, okay, yeah, you're rich.
I
You're
try
probably
not
you.
to. I
You probably cheat on your wife, and you probably, your children don't speak to you. So good. I hope you're enjoying all
we
your money.
it's really I try to get that. I try not to think about like their personal lives and stuff like that. I just because it's all just numbers and putting numbers together and making sure that it's accurate and doing and taking something off their plate that they don't want to
Yeah.
do. And
How
so
how often is there something where like you see receipts and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's not illegal, but it's uncomfortable.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. Not often. No,
No, okay, all right, yeah.
no. I mean, there are things that we have to go back and we say you can't do this,
Oh
or
no, that of course, yeah. Oh yeah, that's ever.
yeah,
Oh, I will be forever bringing receipts to my guy and being like, look, can you figure something out with this? And he's like, absolutely not. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to keep bringing them to you because maybe next time you'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like you could take this to the nth degree. Say, so in Gainesville, there was a bar called the Library, so that
Mhm.
your receipt, if you were partying on your parents' credit card, would say the library. You could be like, yeah, I
Okay,
got some dinner at the library or something. Like the drinks were, yeah, I don't know. They were all like book names and this nonsense, or it was called the
yeah,
bookstore or something like that. And, but I imagine in, CD or establishments, they probably have equivalent things where, you're going to study other things. I don't know. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, hard to say. Yeah, I just wonder. There's a little window to your world. I was curious about. That's all.
Yeah. I think I don't. Yeah, there's not a lot of
No.
questions
Yeah,
like that.
I'm trying.
No.
I built this picture that like Joe gets this all this dirt on all these different people around town, and you're like,
No, it's mostly like, oh wow,
yeah.
wow. How
Well,
are you living?
yeah, well, and I mean, I will say
Both ways.
that's been my
Yeah.
life with my tax guy the past month, where he's like, wow, you got a lot going on. And I don't mean like a lot from money going on. I mean just
Yeah.
like like so I have a client in North Carolina. I had to file a state return in North Carolina. I had revenue in Florida. I had revenue in Minneapolis. So I got to file a state return in Minnesota. And then of course there's the
Yeah.
whole money from breeding snakes conversation in the first place, where he's like, all right, I need to think through what we can define as depreciable goods. What are we going to do running a cost of goods inventory versus all
Right.
the
Yeah.
costs up front? Uh, Chris, what's going on, man? I am going to message you, guys. Chris has gone through a big rebrand on from Snakes and the Fat Man to the Fat Man Nation. And Chris, I got to catch up with you, man. You got to come on the show and talk about what you got going on. Hopefully we'll figure it out. Maybe you're going to be like, no, screw this guy, I'm not going on his show. But I'd love to have you on, and we could talk some guitars too. I saw your video about the 81 Custom and the 83 Deluxe. I caught those details, man. I loved it. Thanks for popping in, Chris. Yeah, so that's been going on with the taxes. I finally got them. That was another thing that I got done this week. Those are
I'm doing everybody else's taxes, and I haven't done mine yet. I'm actually going to file an extension.
I was just about to say, you're going to file an extension. That's that's what you got to do, right? Hey,
right.
Speaking of revenue and work, I have a 9:30 on the East Coast meeting this morning where I actually have to look professional and human. So I have to get out of the red line shirt. I got to shower, shave, put on some, not high dollar, but medium dollar clothes so I can bill some money. And I gotta boogie. I gotta wrap it up, man. What were some ideas you wanted to talk about next week, Joe? Well, I like what do you think the topic for next week should be?
Well, we kind of talked about it a little bit this week. I was thinking about geographic hotspots for
I think we should.
The industry.
I really think we should, because there's so many differing opinions on where the market's at, how the market's doing. And now that I've lived in Florida and the Midwest and have some insights to the East Coast and the Northeast, they're wildly different markets. I'd love to, let's dive in on that.
And what's the difference between the clientele in each markets? And are they different, or are they the same kind of people who are coming to you?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I think that's a good idea.
Let's figure it out for next week. So audience, we'll be back. Sorry, I got to run. I got to do it today. We all got lives to live. Believe it or not, this isn't paying the, I don't have screw you money for our actual jobs. So we got a boogie today, guys. Joe, take us home, man.
Hey, take it easy, everybody. Always love Thursday mornings with you all, and see you next week.
See you guys.